Sometimes science plays with coincidences. The same equation is discovered by two different scientists. The Lorentz-Lorenz equation got its name for a reason. It was derived independently by two researchers, the Danish scientist Ludwig Lorentz and the Dutch scientist Hendrik Lorentz. The difference was nearly 10 years, and they were unaware of each other's work. In the end, both published almost the same discovery. Science sometimes has such quirks. People in different countries working on similar problems arrive at the same results. This shows that discoveries are not random. They hang in the air, waiting to be noticed. You won't believe it, but the sugar industry has been hiding the truth for decades. In the mid-20th century, sugar producers funded research that shifted the blame for heart disease onto fats and cholesterol. Scientists published articles that downplayed the dangers of sugar, redirecting attention to dangerous fats. As a result, entire generations believed that sweets were relatively safe, while the real threat was butter and meat. It was only later revealed that excess sugar is directly linked to obesity and diseases. This is one example of how business can rewrite science for its own benefit. Today, humanity has explored only 1 to 5% of the ocean. Everything else remains in the dark depths, where humans have rarely ventured. Unknown species, entire ecosystems, and even new sources of energy may be hidden there. Imagine, we know more about the moon than about the ocean floor. This paradox astonishes scientists and fuels the imagination. What lies beneath? Giant creatures, underwater cities, or just darkness? Each new descent of exploration devices reveals a piece of this mystery. It turns out that the ocean is the last great enigma on Earth. Today, over 1,300,000,000 people know and use English. It is not only an official language in dozens of countries, but also the language of the internet, science, and business. This means that even if you find yourself in an unfamiliar corner of the world, the chances of being able to communicate in English are still high. It has become something like a universal translator between nations. Of course, every language has its own beauty, but English has become the bridge that connects millions of different cultures. One could say it is a true key to the global world. Vladimir Lenin was not only a revolutionary but also an avid chess player. During his exile in Siberia, he played correspondence games, solved chess problems in studies, and later often used chess metaphors in his writings. For him, chess was not just a game, but a training ground for strategic thinking. Imagine, he could manage several games at once while in exile and simultaneously work on political texts. Chess helped him hone his patience and ability to calculate moves. Thus, the revolutionary known for decisive actions was a cool-headed strategist on the board, capable of waiting for the right moment to make a winning move. Even the great Benjamin Franklin used electricity for fun pranks. One of the founding fathers of the United States was not only a politician and scientist, but also a big fan of practical jokes. Franklin conducted experiments with electricity and once electrified the crown in a portrait of King George II of England. When guests tried to touch it, they were shocked. Franklin laughed and called this trick the electric shock of treason. Sometimes he would ask people to hold hands so the shock would pass along, creating a whole chain of laughing conspirators. For him, even science was an excuse for fun. Today, it's hard to imagine a computer without microchips, but there was a time when memory was made quite differently. In the mid-20th century, data was stored in tiny magnetic rings. Each ring could remember a bit of information, while wires threaded through them managed the writing and reading processes. This was known as ferrite memory. It looked quite simple, like beads strung on a wire. Yet this technology was a breakthrough that allowed the first computers to operate faster and more reliably. Such memory was literally worth its weight in gold, and every cell counted. Today, it's difficult for us to believe that programs ran on rings, but that's how the era of the digital world began. Tokyo Tower is very similar to the Eiffel Tower, but it's painted in orange and white. The most interesting part is that it weighs almost half as much. This is due to the new generation steel used in its construction in the 1950s. The lightweight yet strong metal allowed for the creation of a massive structure without unnecessary heaviness. It turned out to be an acrobatic building, tall, stable, and yet slim. The tower became a symbol of Japan's recovery after the war, and its silhouette still adorns Tokyo. It serves as a reminder that technology can be both powerful and elegant. Galapagos marine iguanas can hold their breath for up to an hour. These unusual lizards live on the Galapagos Islands and feed on seaweed. To find food, they dive into the ocean and can stay underwater for up to 60 minutes. Their bodies are adapted so that blood is directed only to vital organs during this time, conserving oxygen. They expel excess salt through special glands in their noses, sneezing out salty droplets. On land, they bask in the sun, while in the sea, they become true underwater divers. This is a unique example of reptiles adapting to oceanic life. The most numerous bird in the world is neither the sparrow nor the pigeon, but the tiny red-billed qualia. This small bird, found in Africa south of the Sahara, gathers in massive flocks and literally devastates grain fields. For farmers, they are a true plague. Thousands of these birds can strip a harvest in just a few hours. The flocks of quailias are so enormous that they appear like a moving cloud. Scientists consider them the most abundant bird species on Earth. Ironically, in cities we tend to view pigeons as symbols of mass presence, but the record actually belongs to these small African weavers. Off the coast of Mauritius, there is a breathtaking sight. It looks as if a giant waterfall is crashing into the ocean right by the shore. In reality, this is an optical illusion. Ocean currents carry sand and sediment in such a way that it creates the impression of a swift flow downward into the abyss. From above, the view is fantastic. The water seems to plunge through the edge of the ocean. Tourists specifically fly here to witness this natural wonder with their own eyes. In reality, there is no chasm, but the beauty of the illusion is so striking that it is considered one of the most mesmerizing landscapes on the planet. In ancient Rome, fashion could be both strange and bold. To achieve a rich, dark hair color, noble women used not dye, but leeches. They would take them, place them in a vessel, let them ferment, and then apply the resulting goo to their hair. It sounds horrifying, but at the time it was considered a true beauty secret. Imagine a modern salon. A client walks in and is offered leeches shampoo. We would run away in horror. But for the Romans, it was a normal grooming ritual. Interestingly, thousands of years later, we are still willing to undergo bizarre procedures for beauty. Only now they smell a lot better. In Japan, there are unusual hotels where guests are greeted not by people, but by robots. Imagine being welcomed by an android at the reception, while a mechanical porter delivers your luggage to your room. Even cleaning and service are partially handled by machines. This network is called Henna Hotel, and it has become a true attraction. For tourists, it's an opportunity to glimpse the future, where technology and service merge into one. Of course, sometimes robots make mistakes, and humans have to step in, but the experiences are unforgettable. The Japanese have once again proven that if you're looking for futuristic ideas in everyday life, you should look to them. A hotel with robots is a reality where you can spend the night today. An ant can lift a load 50 times its own weight. If a human had such abilities, they could easily throw a truck over their shoulder and stroll down the street. The secret lies in the ant's powerful muscles, working with a lightweight exoskeleton, and its body weight is distributed quite differently than ours. In a colony, this turns into a complete transportation system. Dozens of ants carry food and building materials, like little laborers on a construction site. Their strength is one of the best examples of how size does not determine capability. In the Atlantic Ocean lies Tristan da Cunha, the most remote inhabited place on the planet. The nearest mainland is nearly 2,500 kilometers away, and only about 260 people live there. The only way to reach the island is by ship, taking 6 days from South Africa. There are no airport, shopping centers, or hotels, and almost all the residents are descendants of sailors and settlers. Life here seems to be stuck in another time. People live in a community, grow their own food, and know each other by name. For a tourist, it's a unique experience to find oneself in a world where civilization is left behind the horizon. In Bhutan, almost half of the residents walk to work every day. The roads there don't always accommodate cars, and the mountainous terrain makes walking a natural part of life. Imagine, In the morning, people ascend trails with views of the Himalayas, and in the evening, they return the same way. For them, it's not about sports or fitness, it's just a regular means of getting around. Perhaps that's why Bhutanese are considered some of the happiest people. They connect work with nature every day, breathe fresh air, and enjoy stunning landscapes. Even carousels in different countries spin in different directions. In the UK, carousels traditionally rotate clockwise, while in the US and continental Europe, they turn counterclockwise. This difference stems from the fact that in the past, carousel figures were designed for easier mounting from the left side. The British deemed one direction correct, while those across the ocean chose another. The result is a curious phenomenon. The same amusement moves in opposite directions in different parts of the world. It may seem like a minor detail, but it highlights how culture influences even entertainment. A regular apple is made up of 90% water. That's why it's so juicy and refreshing. When you bite into an apple, it's like drinking a mini glass of pure water with vitamins. It's no wonder apples are a popular snack for travel. They're light, nutritious, and quench your thirst. Interestingly, thanks to their high water content, apples can be stored for a long time without losing freshness. They are like a natural bottle of drink, just in the form of a fruit, and perhaps one of the most convenient snacks created by nature. A story that sounds like a paradox. A fashion brand burns its own bags. Louis Vuitton and other luxury brands destroy unsold goods. They do this to prevent items from going on sale and devaluing the brand. Bags, clothing, and accessories worth millions of dollars are burned or disposed of each year. It turns out that to maintain the company's image, they are willing to destroy what for many people symbolizes wealth. This is shocking, but in the fashion world, the logic is different. It's better to burn thousands of bags than to let them sell for less. It turns out that the rubber snake is not just a toy, but a real animal. In Canada, there is a harmless snake with the surprising name of rubber snake. It is completely safe for humans and is even used in therapy for people with phobias. Due to its calm demeanor and soft body, it is used for gradual acclimatization to snakes. There have been no recorded cases of attacks on humans. Interestingly, the rubber snake that we usually think of as a prank toy actually exists in nature and helps people overcome their fears. Sometimes even the names of animals sound like a joke from nature. In the old houses of Venice and Florence, secret staircases hidden within the walls are still being discovered. Aristocrats built them as a backup escape route in case of danger or attack. These concealed passages led to secret rooms or allowed for a discreet exit from the house. Today, such discoveries captivate tourists. You enter an old mansion and suddenly find a small door, behind which lies a narrow spiral staircase, leading who knows where. It feels as if the house itself is guarding its secrets. These architectural tricks serve as a reminder that life in past centuries was not only luxurious, but also dangerous, requiring caution and clever solutions. It may seem strange that banknotes vary in size across different countries. In fact, this is done intentionally to make life easier for people with visual impairments. In euros or pounds, each banknote differs in length and width, allowing individuals to identify them by touch. This is convenient not only for the visually impaired, but for everyone else as well, reducing the chance of confusing denominations. In the US, however, all banknotes are the same size, making it difficult for tourists to quickly distinguish between them. Additionally, varying sizes serve as a protection against counterfeiting, as it is challenging for fraudsters to replicate precise dimensions. Thus, banknotes hold not only monetary value, but also a hidden consideration for the people who handle them daily. Interestingly, even the mightiest trees have a limit to their growth. It turns out that no tree on the planet can exceed a height of about 130 meters. The reason lies in physics. Water cannot rise up the trunk beyond a certain level. It's like trying to drink through a straw the length of a skyscraper. At some point, the liquid simply stops. This is why even the majestic sequoias, the tallest trees in the world, reach this invisible threshold. We look up at them in awe of their grandeur, but they too are subject to the strict laws of nature that impose a limit where it seems there could be infinity. Imagine Venice at night when tourists disperse to their hotels and the city falls silent. You walk across an ancient stone bridge, and suddenly it emits astonishing sounds, like a soft melody. This is due to its unique design. In certain spots, plates are installed that begin to vibrate with each step. The effect of resonance transforms an ordinary bridge into a musical instrument. Tourists unwittingly become musicians themselves. These sounds seem to transport you to the past, to an era when Venice was a hub of trade and art. The city still knows how to amaze. Here, even the stones converse and sing if you listen closely enough. The number of possible combinations in chess exceeds the number of atoms in the entire universe. Each new move opens up virtually infinite variations in the game. This is why no two games are ever exactly the same. Imagine playing a match with a friend, and theoretically, you create a unique variation that has never existed before. This transforms chess from just a game into a true art of strategy and imagination. It's no wonder they call it the royal game. Within those black and white squares lies a whole universe of possibilities. The world of mammals is diverse. Some run, some swim, some jump. But only bats can truly fly. Their wings are membranes stretched over elongated fingers, not feathers like birds. This structure makes them incredibly agile. Additionally, bats use echolocation. They emit sounds that bounce off objects, allowing them to navigate in the dark by the echoes. This enables them to hunt at night with missile-like precision. Bats play a crucial role in the ecosystem, consuming millions of insects and pollinating plants. These small nocturnal hunters are true masters of the air. Octopuses are true inventors of the underwater world. Scientists have observed that they can use coconut shells as shelters. They pick up suitable halves, drag them along the ocean floor, and then assemble them like a shield when they need to hide. It looks as if the octopus has its own backpack or portable tent. For an animal without bones or a shell, this is a brilliant solution. It creates its own armor. Octopuses are already known for their high intelligence, but using objects is a level of ingenuity akin to humans. So it turns out that a little MacGyver with 8 arms lives on the ocean floor. The story of the first feature film in human history remains forever incomplete. In 1906, Australia produced The Story of the Kelly Gang, a film that lasted over an hour, which was a technical marvel for its time. Audiences were thrilled, but only a quarter of the film has survived to this day. The rest is irretrievably lost. Imagine if the first novel by Tolstoy or an early painting by Picasso had vanished. We know the film existed and understand its significance, but future viewers will never experience it in its entirety. The history of cinema began with a mystery that will always remain untold. The oldest joke was found on a clay tablet in Mesopotamia and dates back to around 1900 BC. And funny enough, it's a joke about gas. It says, "Never has it happened that a woman did not fart in front of her husband." Humor, it turns out, is timeless. 4,000 years have passed, and the themes haven't changed. It's amusing that scholars, while deciphering the ancient text, discovered not only laws and myths, but also this little everyday joke. It seems people have always enjoyed joking about the simple and relatable. Egypt can confidently be called the oldest state in the world. Its history spans over 5,000 years, beginning with the unification of Upper and Lower Kingdoms. The pyramids, temples, and the mysterious Nile are not just beautiful images, but symbols of a civilization that laid the foundation for many cultures. Imagine, while Europe was still unaware of writing, the Egyptians were already constructing majestic tombs and writing in hieroglyphs. And even though thousands of years have passed, Egypt still holds secrets that scholars are unraveling, like the pages of the oldest book in the world. Many people believe that lightning never strikes the same place twice, but that's a myth. In reality, for example, the Empire State Building in New York gets hit by lightning about 100 times a year. Tall buildings and structures seem to attract electricity, and their tops are specially equipped with lightning rods to prevent damage from strikes. So, lightning doesn't avoid old spots. In fact, it loves to return to them again and again. So if you find yourself near a skyscraper during a storm, know that it's one of the most common places for lightning to meet the ground. Nature once again proves that it doesn't adhere to pretty sayings. Chinese woman Xi Jinping became famous for not cutting her hair for over 40 years. She started growing it at the age of 13 and reached a length of 5.62 meters. That's almost 18 feet. Just imagine how much time it takes to care for such a braid. Brushing alone takes a couple of hours, and washing is a whole ritual. Sometimes she braids her hair or wraps it around herself to make it easier to move. Her record is listed in the Guinness Book of Records, and so far no one has broken it. It's reminiscent of the tale of Rapunzel, but in real life, where determination and patience become a true legend. Norway is home to the longest road tunnel in the world, the Lærdal Tunnel, which stretches over 24 kilometers. What's remarkable is that in spring, it transforms not only into a roadway for cars, but also into a path for goats. Local farmers drive their herds through it to reach pastures, and this has become quite a tradition. Imagine walking through a tunnel usually filled with speeding cars, while goats calmly stroll around you. For the animals, it's safer than climbing mountain trails. And for tourists, it's a true spectacle that blends modern engineering with rural life. Norwegians have found an original way to combine technology and nature. The Rialto Bridge is the oldest and most famous in Venice. It was built in the 16th century and has been slowly sinking ever since. The city is built on stilts and constantly battles the water, which is why the bridge is gradually descending as well. Over the centuries, it has been restored and reinforced multiple times to preserve this symbol of Venice. However, the underlying issue remains. The sea is slowly reclaiming its territory. For tourists, Rialto is a romantic spot with a view of the Grand Canal, while for engineers it presents an ongoing challenge. Each stone here serves as a reminder that Venice is beautiful and fragile, and its wonders require constant care and protection. Some species of turtles can breathe through their cloaca. It sounds funny, but it's actually an important survival adaptation. During cold weather, they can be under ice, where there's almost no oxygen. That's when special cavities in the cloaca come into play, allowing them to absorb oxygen from the water. It's a sort of backup breathing. The turtle seems to say, well, if my nose and mouth aren't working, I have an alternative. This mechanism enables them to stay underwater for hours and even hibernate without coming up for air. What if I told you that the eyes of mantis shrimp are more complex than human eyes? These tiny predators have unique vision. Each eye has 3 pupils and up to 16 types of light-sensitive cells. In comparison, humans have only 3. Mantis shrimp can see ultraviolet, infrared, and even polarized light. Their vision is so extraordinary that it helps scientists develop new camera and sensor technologies. It turns out that within the tiny body of this crustacean lies a biological supercosmos that surpasses the capabilities of our eyes and even the best cameras. Typically, twins are born just minutes apart, at most a few hours. However, there was a unique case in history where there was an 87-day gap between the births of 2 sisters. The first girl was born prematurely, and doctors managed to prolong the pregnancy until the second one was strong enough. As a result, their birthdays fell in different months and even different seasons. Imagine how the parents felt. 2 celebrations instead of 1, and a record that made it into the books. This case demonstrates that medicine and human patience can work wonders, and life sometimes writes scripts that are hard to imagine. Yes, there are sharks that can walk. These are small epaulet sharks that live on coral reefs. They use their fins like legs, moving them to shuffle along the sea floor. This ability helps them search for food in places where swimming is difficult, like shallow lagoons. It looks unusual, as if a little shark decided to try on a lizard's outfit. Scientists believe this is an example of unique adaptation. Nature has seemingly given this predator new tools for survival. The walking shark is yet another reminder that the ocean holds countless wonders we are not even aware of. In Antarctica, amidst icy landscapes, there is a place where a stream of crimson water flows from beneath a glacier. It has been dubbed the Blood Falls. In reality, the water is colored due to a high iron content. It oxidizes and gives off that hue. However, it looks truly eerie. The pristine white ice and the red river resemble a scene from a horror movie. Scientists believe that beneath the ice lies an ancient lake with microorganisms that thrive in conditions with almost no oxygen. Thus, the blood falls are not only a spectacle, but also a clue about life in extreme conditions. The Hercules beetle truly lives up to its name. It can lift a weight that exceeds its own by 850 times. Imagine a person being able to lift a multi-ton truck. That's the ratio this tiny hero demonstrates. It inhabits tropical forests and primarily uses its strength to fight rivals and attract females. Males sport long horns with which they battle for the attention of the ladies. Despite its small size, this beetle is a true champion of strength in the insect world, a symbol that greatness is not determined by size. Nature once again proves that strength can come in the most unexpected forms. Sharks are eternal swimmers. They lack a swim bladder, which keeps most fish at the right depth. To avoid sinking and suffocating, they must keep moving all the time. Water flows through their gills, and that's the only way they get oxygen. Imagine having to walk your entire life with no right to sit down or lie down to sleep. For a shark, this is normal. Even in sleep, it continues to swim, moving slowly and calmly. So the ocean is for it both a bed and a road, a home all at once, a true marathon that lasts a lifetime. In Milan, skyscrapers have been built that resemble giant flower beds. Thousands of trees and shrubs have been planted on balconies and facades. This is the Vertical Forest Project. Buildings that not only provide housing, but also purify the air, create shade, and reduce noise. In a city filled with cars and concrete, they have become green oases. The residents of these homes literally live among the treetops, not in a country house, but in a high-rise. Beautiful and beneficial at the same time. Architects have demonstrated that nature and the metropolis can be allies, not enemies if trees are given space even on the 30th floor. A herd of goats is referred to in an unusual way. Nannies and billies. The females are called nannies, while the males are billies. This amusing terminology highlights their personalities. The goat always appears caring yet stubborn, while the buck is independent and proud. Imagine a farm where the shepherd calls not just a herd, but a team of nannies and billies. It adds a touch of humor to simple rural life. Such names show that people have always tried to see in animals not just food or assistance, but also their unique characters. Rabbits are cute and fluffy, but they have an interesting feature. Their bodies are designed in such a way that they cannot vomit. Food moves through their system in only one direction, which helps them avoid unnecessary energy loss. On one hand, this is a plus. Rabbits don't suffer from nausea. On the other hand, it's a downside. If they eat something harmful, they can't get rid of it. That's why the owners of these domestic little ears always monitor their diet. It's amusing that such delicate animals have a system that is more rigid than that of many predators. What a surprise, the lines on a basketball were not designed for aesthetics. These stripes help players grip the ball firmly and better control its movement. Try playing with an old smooth ball, and you'll immediately notice the difference. It slips out of your hands and shots become inaccurate. The lines provide traction for the fingers and allow for quick changes in the ball's direction. For spectators, it's just a familiar design element, but for players, it's an unnoticed yet vital tool. It turns out that the outcome of an entire game can depend on a few stripes applied to the orange surface. If you take a standard deck of 52 cards and shuffle it well, you can't even imagine what you're holding in your hands. The number of possible combinations is so vast that it can be expressed with 60 zeros. Imagine shuffling the cards, and almost certainly you get a unique order that has never existed in human history and will never exist again. Each time, it's like creating a new universe right on the table. Playing cards after this feels like real magic. A simple game transforms into a journey through infinite possibilities. Even a regular game of Durac or poker suddenly gains special significance, as in your hands a unique combination is born that will vanish forever the moment you gather the cards back. It sounds incredible, but there was a cartel that limited the lifespan of light bulbs. In the 1920s, the largest light manufacturers formed the Phoebus Cartel. They agreed that bulbs should not last longer than 1,000 hours. If a company produced a more durable product, it was fined. This artificially maintained demand, people kept buying new bulbs over and over again. Meanwhile, it's known that bulbs can last for decades. A lamp in a California fire station has been shining for over 100 years. This example became a symbol of planned obsolescence and showed that businesses can even control the light in our homes. Dubai loves to impress with architectural wonders, and one of the ideas is skyscrapers that rotate around their axis. Imagine a building where each floor can slowly turn, offering residents a new view. The sea in the morning, the desert in the evening, and the city lights at night. This technology requires complex solutions, but it transforms the building into a living mechanism. Additionally, the rotation helps evenly distribute sunlight throughout the building and saves energy. This is not just a striking concept, but a step towards smart architecture where comfort and beauty go hand in hand. Dubai once again proves that the future is already here. A story that sounds like a spy novel. Scientologists infiltrated U.S. government agencies. In the 1970s, followers of this religion conducted Operation Snow White. Their goal was to destroy documents that could harm the church. Scientologists secretly entered buildings, stole materials, and attempted to sabotage investigations. Ultimately, the FBI uncovered the conspiracy, making it one of the largest cases of illegal infiltration into government structures. For many, this event was shocking. A religious organization operated using intelligence agency tactics. It turns out that real life can sometimes be far more dramatic than fiction in movies. The paradox is that nuclear energy is considered safer than conventional coal and gas. Many people associate nuclear power with accidents and radiation danger, recalling Chernobyl or Fukushima, and that ends the discussion. However, statistics tell a different story. When comparing the number of victims and illnesses caused by various energy sources, coal and gas prove to be far more dangerous. Hundreds of thousands suffer from lung diseases due to emissions from power plants, while the climate takes a severe hit. In contrast, nuclear plants generate energy with almost no carbon emissions, and accidents are extremely rare. Thus, we have a paradox. The frightening word nuclear instills fear, even though in reality, it saves lives. It sounds incredible, but one mistake on the stock exchange cost $100 million. In Japan, a trader accidentally entered the wrong number. Instead of selling 6 shares at 610,000 yen, he sold 610,000 shares at 6 yen. The computer system did not allow the transaction to be canceled, and the company lost a colossal amount. This incident has been dubbed the fat finger error, when a single clumsy keystroke leads to catastrophic consequences. Imagine, a simple typo which we often attribute to inattention turned into a sum equivalent to the budget of an entire city in the financial world. High humidity can make heat almost unbearable for a person. When it's hot and humid outside, the body literally loses its ability to cool down. The thing is, sweat stops evaporating from the skin, meaning the body can't shed excess heat. As a result, we feel weakness, fatigue, and even stress. It's like trying to dry laundry on a foggy day. It stays wet no matter how much time passes. That's why high humidity feels more oppressive than dry heat. The body simply can't cope with natural cooling. Interestingly, would you guess that there are people who find pleasure simply in the process? These individuals are called autotelics. They don't need money, praise, or fame to engage in what they love. Their motivation comes from within. They can passionately draw, program, play an instrument, or write books, losing track of time. In psychology, autotelics are considered more resilient to stress and often experience a state of flow, where a person is completely absorbed in a task. For them, the outcome is not as important as the journey itself. It's like finding joy not only in the travel, but also in the very act of moving forward. In the 1990s, artists Vitaly Kumar and Alexander Melamed, along with composer Dave Soldier, set out to create the most terrible song in history. They aimed to produce a piece that would be as unbearable to listen to as possible. They gathered all the musical elements that people found annoying: a children's choir, operatic rap, banjos, synthesizers, and absurd lyrics about hypermarkets and Coca-Cola. The result was a 20-minute track that is truly difficult to listen to all the way through. The experiment proved that art has not only peaks of beauty, but also depths of discord, and there is a certain charm in that as well. It may seem like ordinary things, but if you take a closer look, they hold the most unexpected stories. If you enjoyed this journey through the world of curiosities, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. There's even more to come that textbooks have kept silent about.